Hello everybody, welcome back. Live stream tonight. If you want to join that, links of the Patreon in the description below. So let's get started. We're just going to talk about Ethereum. So I alluded to a potential alt season yesterday on that video I made in the afternoon. So second to that, it's basically we're just going to focus on Ethereum. I'm going to show you some bullish cases here. I've seen on X that there's been a little bit of talk about Ethereum's due for a breakout. Not really any evidence for it other than just hopium. So I can give you a little bit more than hopium over here. So this is the Ethereum to Bitcoin pair on the weekly. We love weeklies. Weeklies show big swings, and if we're going to get a big swing on this one, it is due for one. We've got one major drive on the money flow index, bullish divergence, quite a long-standing drive over here on the RSI. And if you were to measure the top target, which unfortunately would be a bearish retest of a death cross over here, we've already seen ourselves surfing the 50 simple and exponential on the way down here. If you were to get a big one, a big move, it's a 43% move, almost 44% move. Again, it's a descending moving averages, so with every week that goes by it'll be less and less and less. And so that would be like, I suppose, a top target. So you'd be looking to see a 44% move at best. You could even highlight this area up here as the 200 simple. That is a possibility, but yeah, in the 40s is a possibility based on this weekly. So by the time we finish this video, don't expect the move to take place. It's a weekly time frame that we're looking at here, so it could happen over the next few weeks, if at all, because we're going to be vulnerable to all the other financial markets out there. We've got the FOMC tomorrow, I believe, and there's even with that, everyone's saying, oh, it's 50 basis points, oh, it's 25 basis points, oh, it's unchanged. Let's not speculate. Nobody knows until the old man speaks, and so we'll just have to wait and see what happens there. It's going to cause volatility up and down. Obviously, rate cuts are bullish long term, but in the interim, it's not uncommon to see a dump on the face of that. So, getting yourself dug in too deep in any kind of position at this level right now, in anticipation for a really big, bold, massive, huge, epic green candle, based on what Chairman Powell's going to say tomorrow, I think is a bit reckless. But let's just focus on the chart anyway. So the weekly on the Bitcoin pair, Ethereum to Bitcoin, has potential to see a move of maybe into the mid 40% zone. On the daily, we have something similar, not quite the same, but similar. We've got a little bit of bullish divergence over here, a little bit, that's all. And if you measure it long enough, you've got another one over here on the money flow index. Again, it's not as good as the weekly. I prefer to have a better weekly than the shorter term time frames, because that means bigger swing, bigger move. Same thing over here, 4 hourly. If you measure it all the way back, money flow index, bullish divergence, nothing on the RSI. So unfortunately, that's not much to talk about on the 4 hours. It really is a higher term time frame thing, which I suppose makes sense, because I was talking about a potential alt season beginning at 58% dominance, which is quite close. So it's 58.5% dominance, which is just a little higher than where we are right now. So fair enough. Right, so that is your situation for the Bitcoin and Ethereum pair. Let's have a look at Ethereum, its actual self. It's much better on the daily. 2 drives so far on this daily, and 2 drives on this RSI. So the RSI and the money flow index look really positive. It's always better to have 3 drives, but 2 will do for now. We'll see how we go. And again, if you were to measure this move up into a death cross retest, you've got the 50 exponential, a 14, almost 15% move really, 2,600, and then you've got a top target up here around 2,876. So you can always highlight this one over here. I mean, it's not irrelevant. We saw some support around it, but I prefer exponentials obviously, but they're both as relevant as each other. And again, if you were to measure it up to the 200 simple moving average, it's just short of a 40% move anyway. So there's your daily looking quite good as well. Let's have a look at the weekly over here. So the weekly unfortunately doesn't have anything of any real significance. In fact, it's pretty lame, I'd say, looking at this weekly. The only thing we got going for us, if anything, is that we're clinging on desperately to the 200 simple on the weekly here. Desperately clinging on. We've had 2 wicks down to this horizontal, which marked this peak and these supports. So you could make the case that maybe the bottom has already come in for Ethereum, and that is 2,152. If there was going to be any leverage positions for those with, I suppose, bold attitudes and reckless money making, then I suppose your stop loss would have to be below this horizontal, probably even lower than that, which is quite a large gap really if you were to try and fill your boots with Ethereum right now. So it's that's this is what I mean. You're asking for trouble if you really want to get into a leverage position. Anything over than, I suppose, 2 or 3x, you're looking for trouble there. But it doesn't mean that it can't happen. It definitely favours a spot position, I would say, because this is still a series of higher highs and higher lows over the long-term time frame. And if you're going to get a response, like a big swing trade, maybe even a full reversal back up to previous all-time highs, it should happen around this area. You don't want to be closing below a 200 exponential or a simple, really, on a weekly. It's not a good look for it. Right, let's dig deep into the 4-hourly, and then we'll leave it there. There is no bullish divergence on this because we basically made a higher low, which is bullish in itself. So that's one thing. We did have bullish divergence leading into this low, which is interesting. Same thing on the money flow index as well. So the 4-hourly might have already put in the low here. So if you're looking to trade this in the very short term, a move up to this area, which is about an 8.5% move, 2,500 flat. That's where you'd expect to get rejected. Obviously, this is early days now, so we're not seeing any kind of setup on the Ichimoku cloud. Nothing really like that. So it's just a matter of the markets lifting itself back up again. And if Ethereum can do it, which has been a massive lagger in compared to all these other altcoins, which is why they pump into their resistances and then they pull back down. I get DMs all the time on my Telegram saying, "What's this chart doing? What's this chart doing? What's this chart doing?" So, I mean, most charts at the moment are just currently moving with the market. If an altcoin moves up and it looks particularly good, then fine, but the overall trading environment doesn't suit continuation, so we're not really going to get it. If you get Ethereum to start breaking out, and this is a long shot because you've got to get back above all moving averages and then stay above them and get support on them. I often do this little trick on my Patreons where I say, look, if you're bullish, you have to invert the scale. Why are you bullish? This is a bullish chart. When you've inverted the scale, you are extremely bullish on it because you've got these lows, you've got a higher low, you've got another higher low, then you've got broken through the horizontal, then you've made a new high into resistance, you've got golden crosses. These are looking really good. In fact, they're looking so good because they're not being retested. And if you're going to get a retest, it'll be another opportunity to buy and then break out. But unfortunately, when you invert the scale back, you realize that's actually not reality. That's the opposite of reality. And we are still in the middle of a downtrend. So trying to spot a bottom is dangerous. Everybody knows that. Nobody catches the bottom. Nobody sells the top. But there's if you were to make an educated guess that a low is close, it's gonna be around here. But again, it's an educated guess. It's not a call. It's not a 100x leverage position. It's nothing. It's just an educated guess. And I suppose you could try it. There's worse things to be stuck in than Ethereum. If you look at Ethereum, it certainly didn't go back to where it started from, unlike a lot of altcoins, and certainly hasn't revisited the bear market lows like a lot of altcoins. And it's it might not have made a new all-time high quite yet, but it's still holding a structure of significance. And if I was to have a gun to my head and they say, "Where's this going to go over the next 12 months?" I'd say it's almost certainly, based on what we see right now, going to make a new all-time high. Question is when, because we're looking at a weak chart compared to all the others. Well, it is what it is. There's nothing we can do to change it, but an educated guess would tell me that there is a good chance that the low has already formed. If this area does break, though, 2,155, it probably would see a significant pullback all the way down to 1,850, thereabouts. So, long story short, the Bitcoin to Ethereum pair looks reasonably good on a higher term time frames, ready for a swing, potentially 40% or more. Ethereum to USDT looks okay, not quite as good, but I'd prefer to have an Ethereum Bitcoin pair look better than the Tether pair, because that should help this chart over here, the Bitcoin dominance chart, find a serious rejection. And if we're going to get rejected here, should take us all the way down to here, and that would be a nice move. And actually, not that, that's the 4-hourly. It would definitely take you down to there. It would be the weekly and the daily that we focus on, all of which are massively bullish with golden crosses in play. But yeah, we'll probably see ourselves reject with a lowest target on what we see right now, around 52.5% dominance. So that is an alt season right there. You can complement that idea with these two major drives of the weekly RSI, giving you classic bearish divergence with a quite hot money flow index read as well. So we might be looking at an alt season, and if it's going to happen, it'll be driven by Ethereum, which is overdue because it's weak AF, and as soon as it perks up, then yeah, all the other alts will follow, and you will get this mania phase. But in reference to the chart, standing back and tuning back into Sanity FM, it is all still a setup of a much larger bearish trend, and it's only once these areas have been reclaimed can we say, all right, a new all-time is looking quite likely at this point. Until we have that, we have incremental moves up, buy the dip, sell the rip, and hope for a breakout. Again, hope is not where the money should go. Hope is something you shouldn't really commit any capital to. Hope you should only commit capital to supports and resistances and increased momentum. Right, that's all there is to say about that. Maybe I'll see you on the live stream tonight. Again, links in the description below for that. Alternatively, just have a nice day and take it easy.